Hi, Doug Goldstein here with the Goldstein on Gelt Show. Let's talk today about one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're investing because they don't exactly understand why. Now, maybe you've heard of that book by Simon Sinek called Starting with Why. I hope you have. It's a good book, but really, one of the ideas that I think a lot of people fail to consider when they're investing is to really think why they're investing. Now, many times in my day job as an investment advisor, I talk to people and they just keep talking about the yield they're going to return that they're going to make on their investments, or how much does this make, or how much did this make? How much did this make, of course, is always a failure. Why? Because, when we put on the bottom of a lot of our marketing materials, past performance is no guarantee of future returns. You know why we say that? It's because it's true. What happened in the past is not necessarily a guarantee of what's going to happen again in the future. So what happens is people are shopping around for the highest yield in the advertisement, and that's a huge mistake. So when you're going to begin to sit down and work on your financial plan, and before you invest, you have to have some plan in place. Now, I don't mind if you're going to sit down and do a full-fledged financial plan, a big document, which is basically going to be a cash flow analysis from today until the last day on earth. That's a great idea. We're big believers in financial planners. I am a financial planner. But even if you're not going to go into such depth, at least you have to begin to plan the investments themselves. But how do you do that? How do you plan the investments? How do you decide, well, how much money should be in the stock market or the bond market or bank deposits or any of these things? And that's really where stepping back and asking yourself the question, what's important about money to me? What does it mean when I have money? So I'm not going to give you an answer because I think for every person it's different. This is a conversation that I have with people all the time. When we're getting started, a very common discussion I'll have with someone in the initial meeting, I may ask it in different ways, but it's basically trying to figure out, why are you here? What is important about money to you? And they may say, hey, Doug, I just got an inheritance. And I'll say, well, what does that mean for you? And they'll say, oh, well, now I can buy a big house. Oh, so you want to buy a big house. Why is that important? Well, because I've got a lot of kids and they're growing up and having grandchildren and I need more space. So now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting into more of the why they're investing. All right, so why do you need more space? And they say, well, I'd like to encourage my children and their spouses to come, and I want to make sure that they're comfortable. So now we're seeing a little more. The why is you want to make sure your family is comfortable. And why is that? Well, they'll say, because the most important thing to me is to bring my family together as often as possible. That is very interesting. That's a whole different reason for investing other than, well, Doug, what's the highest yield on a CD you can get for me today? It's because the highest yield you can get on a CD today doesn't really matter if you're not doing your main thing. And if in your case, for example, is bringing your family together and having Shabbat together, let's say, in your house, well, that's a different story. A person in that case might, well, there's a lot of different possibilities. And again, I'm not giving financial advice here. So don't say, oh, Doug said to do this. But let's say that you are nearing retirement and your kids are grown up and they're having kids of their own and you want to encourage them to come in, but your salary is not enough to cover the expenses of either buying a new house or, let's say, taking people away on a regular basis. So that's a place where we might say, you're getting an inheritance now. How can we invest that inheritance to create enough income, enough interest income from your portfolio in order to help you cover those expenses? That's the question. That's the question that probably we're really looking for. And then we begin a discussion of bank deposits or bonds or high dividend paying stocks. But you see where I'm going here? The question to start with is really the how. It's not really so much. The area to start with here is the why. It's not so much the how or what you can be doing. You have to go in that order. First why, then how. Let me give you another example of what people often talk about. And especially I find this talking to clients in Israel frequently. Frequently, my clients are more on the religious side, and they're looking to do more with their money, like charitable things. So what I realize is that beyond just the numbers in their portfolio, there are a lot of ethics involved. There are a lot of religious issues that are involved. Now, I've encouraged people many times on the Goldstein on Gelt show that they should build in charity as part of their financial plan. And frequently I tell people that you should look to invest 20% of your money in charity. They say, but Doug, it says in the good book, 10%. Yeah, but okay. A lot of people try to up that. And I often talk about a great speech I heard from Howard Jonas, who said that he and his wife decided that they were doing okay. And they decided to give 20% of their income to charity, to tzedakah. It was the just thing to do. And what I've noticed in my own practice and with myself and talking to clients is that when people are trying to grow their wealth, when they grow the amount, the percentage amount that they give to charity, all of a sudden they come to meet a little bit more financial success. You can ask your local rabbi why that is. Whatever your philosophy is on that, go ahead and figure that out. But I can tell you from my personal experience and a lot of anecdotal evidence, it seems to work, that people who are more generous tend to do better themselves. Of course, this applies in business as well. If you're running a business and you try to help people, well, more people are going to come around and come to your business. If you realize also, if you're looking to increase the amount of money that you're giving as charity, I think it helps to realize that the money that you're giving, and certainly this is, I think, a Jewish concept in giving, is everything we earn is a gift, right? It's something that's coming from up above, right? God is deciding how much we're going to get. In fact, on Rosh Hashanah, we're praying for a good year. We pray for a good and prosperous year. And we believe that the decision of how you're going to do that year is made during the high holidays. So if God's deciding what he's going to give you that year, maybe that's the time to begin saying, well, I'd like to give some of that money away. And hey, maybe I'll give away more money. And then maybe, no guarantees here, this is where you will begin to get more financial success. And you'll see that both in your work as well as in your investments. And again, let's go back to the first question. What do you do with that information? Now that you've decided why you're investing, okay, I want to invest because I want to give away more. Well, do you want to give away more today? Is that the goal? Are you trying to build up a portfolio, leave a larger legacy? Are you the type of person who's willing to take more risk with the portfolio? So you want to put some of the money in the stock market? So I'm a big believer in people not trying to invest forever. There's a type of trust called a dynasty trust. Oftentimes, high net worth individuals put money into a dynasty trust, and it might be a dynasty charitable trust. And what's the idea? The idea is that over the decades, the generations, the centuries, this money will grow, and some of it will be given out to charity, and some of it will continue to be reinvested to grow the portfolio. I think the reason why that's not a good idea is there's enough problems today in the world that are worth solving. And I don't know if this is a true story, but there's a story about a guy who dies, and he had set up a dynastic trust, and he goes to heaven, and God says, so tell me, I gave you a lot of money. I gave you a lot of success. Every Rosh Hashanah, I blessed you with a great year, and you became a multi gazillionaire. What'd you do? And the guy says, well, in my 90 years, I gave some charity, and I also set up a dynastic trust so that forever money will be given to charity. And God said to him, man, I gave you 90 years to do good work. Why didn't you just do the 90 years worth of good work and leave the forever up to me? That's my job. That's my theory on dynastic trust. If it's something you're thinking about, if you're in that place and you want to talk to me more about it personally, feel free to be in touch. The other area that you have to consider in your investing is, where are you investing? When we talk about investing with intention, so we spoke about figuring out the why. Why am I investing? What am I trying to do? And an example I gave was bringing the family together. Another example was giving tzedakah, giving charity. And another example is realizing that the money you invest has an impact in and of itself. Now, quite frankly, I'm not really sure if when you buy and sell shares of some super huge $1 trillion company, I don't know if it's affecting the way that they're doing things, but it may have an effect on you. Let's say, for example, that you're not a believer in smoking. You think tobacco is a bad idea. Now, regardless of whether you're buying shares of a tobacco company are going to make any real difference to that company, and we can discuss that, but regardless of that, it may affect something about you. You may not be someone who wants to profit from the dividends and the growth of owning that stock. It's a question you have to ask. And by the way, I think it's very important that you discuss it with your spouse. In terms of investing, one of the things that I see a lot is one spouse handles a lot of the details. One spouse is very involved in the day-to-day operations of the portfolio, is happy to talk to me about the specific stocks or funds or the specific banks where they're investing. And the other spouse isn't. But I always try to bring the other spouse in for the big picture conversations to discuss these issues like we're talking about. Why are you investing? What are your intentions? What are your goals? What do you care about? And one of the things we can discuss in that meeting is whether investing in, for example, tobacco, is that something that you really want to be doing? Is that something that you see as part of your overall goal? Anyway, I'd like to invite any listener, anyone who's listening to the show, to write in. Tell me, what are your goals? What sort of intentions do you have? How do you design your portfolio so that it really reflects what your goals are and what your personality is, what you believe in? And that is, of course, one of the topics that we talk about a lot when we talk about setting up a legacy or an inheritance for your children. They're two different things. The inheritance is the amount of money that you give your kids. The legacy is what you teach them. And the way you invest, what you invest in, the why you're investing, that's something that your children will see, something I think you should let them see, and you should talk to them about it and have those discussions. If it's difficult for you to do it, bring in a financial advisor to facilitate those conversations with the family, because you've worked hard for your money. You're investing your money. You're taking risk with your money. You want to make sure that the money that you have does what you want it to do. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to get in touch with me. Here at Profile Investments, we specialize in working with people who live outside the United States, who have US investment portfolios, and we are taking on new clients now. You can feel free to get in touch with me at the contact page of goldsteinongelt.com or email me directly at doug@profile-financial.com. Thanks so much for joining me. Looking forward to seeing you next time on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.